With nowhere else to go, I head to Skygeirr to meet the shadowed figure. Upon getting to Skygeirr, the shadowed figure turns out to be Alexei StuCo from Brood Wars.
Vice Admiral StuCo, I am here under orders to terminate your command.
Lieutenant Duran, I'm not surprised. We both know exactly what it is that you're here to terminate. Get on with it.
Say goodnight, StuCo.
To hell with you.
Lieutenant Duran, report your situation immediately.
Gerard, old friend, you do indeed have a traitor in your midst. But it's not me. Duran. He has been playing us both from the start. He convinced you to destroy this side disruptor, even though it was our best chance at defeating the Zerg. And then on Ire, he allowed the Zerg to overrun us even as we had the fugitives in our grasp. I came here to activate the one hope we have of defeating them. And you killed me for it. Duran is your enemy, Gerard. I suspect that he may even be infested as well. Use the disruptor, Gerard. Finish our operation. Let my death have at least some meaning.
Alexei! Oh, what have I done? What have I done? Computer, where the hell is Lieutenant Duran?
The lieutenant no longer registers on my sensors, Admiral. He appears to have vanished.
No.
He then tells Kerrigan that Mengsk is making hybrids in Skygeirr, and Kerrigan agrees to destroy this facility. Zagara then asks about StuCo, and Kerrigan explains his backstory, covering when he was killed in Brood Wars, brought back to life as an infested Terran by the Cerebrate Kaloth, de-infested by Raynor in the SNES mission Resurrection 4, then re-infested in this game. This scene was good as it explained the current situation without retconning anything. Kerrigan then calls her swarm to her so she can attack Korhal after destroying Skygeirr. This is good writing as it shows Kerrigan is planning ahead. StuCo then explains his motive for contacting Kerrigan: revenge. This is a good motive and explains why StuCo is allying with a former enemy. Finally, Abatha notes that whoever made StuCo has superior abilities and recommends that Kerrigan joins their swarm. Kerrigan is unimpressed. Skygeirr Mission 1: Infested. This mission starts with Kerrigan using her infestors to infest the nearby garrisons, resulting in virophages appearing that produce infested Terrans. Though they don't produce aberrations, even though aberrations are made from infested Terrans. The Dominion commander then responds by releasing a gas that kills the infested Terrans, but doesn't harm Zerg in any way. I'm not sure why they have this gas, as it would make more sense to move the garrisons inside the facility to prevent them being infested, rather than releasing a gas after they've been infested. Also, for unknown reasons, the Dominion can't synthesize this gas while they're venting it because, if they could produce a constant supply of it and Kerrigan's plan wouldn't work. Eventually, Kerrigan infests all the garrisons and destroys the entrance to the lab. Back on the Leviathan, Kerrigan is contacted by Naktul on behalf of the remaining broodmothers. Kerrigan then has them infest at least one planet to demonstrate yet again how much of a violent psychopath she is. Also, the swarm has now been reunited. Kerrigan realizes that the technology to make this facility is beyond what Mengsk could create, even though she hasn't been in this facility yet. Zagara then suggests that Mengsk may have had help from someone else. StuCo explains that this lab is the Heart of Mengsk's hybrid breeding program, and that the hybrids may not be loyal to Mengsk. Skygeirr Mission 2: Hand of Darkness. This mission begins with StuCo telling Kerrigan that Narud runs this lab, and implies that Narud reinfested him. though he doesn't provide any reasons why Narud would infest or experiment on him. We also learn that Narud serves Amon, yet it's unclear if StuCo is under Amon's influence in the same way Kerrigan was. It seems unlikely that he would be free from this influence, since he's not a primal Zerg. Kerrigan was under Amon's influence even though he was dead, and Narud would have no reason to exempt StuCo from Amon's control. Finally, StuCo provides no explanation as to how he was able to escape and contact Kerrigan without Narud finding out about this. Once in the lab, the hybrid wake up and kill the nearby Dominion soldiers, then attack Kerrigan psionically. StuCo then tells Kerrigan she has to kill the hybrid to stop the draining, but doesn't help her in any way. Neither do Zagara or Dahaka. Once the hybrid is dead, it instantly undoes all the life draining Kerrigan has suffered. Also, having her life drained doesn't affect Kerrigan's HP or abilities in any way. After destroying the 8 hybrids that make up the Heart of Mengsk hybrid breeding program, the mission ends. Oddly, Mengsk doesn't try to contact Kerrigan during this mission, even though he was able to contact her on the Moros. On the Leviathan, Kerrigan states that Narud is trying to resurrect Amon, which StuCo states is somehow related to the Protoss-Zerg conflict and the hybrids. Kerrigan agrees and says that the hybrids can collect psionic energy, while StuCo realizes that the power Kerrigan lost when she was made human may have been enough to resurrect Amon, though it's not explained why Narud didn't infest several ghosts, use the artifact on them, then reinfest them and harvest their energy, or why the artifact used to revive Amon also removes his control over infested Terrans. Kerrigan and Zagara talk about how Narud is more powerful than the Ancient One on Xeris. This is good as it makes it clear how much more dangerous Narud is. Isha mentions that there are many Protoss in the lab, and Kerrigan is somehow able to tell that they're Tal'darim and that they worship Amon. Skygeirr Mission 3 Phantom Void. This level starts with StuCo explaining that the Tal'darim are Narud's best troops, which for unknown reasons he held in reserve and didn't use to defend the hybrids, even though the entire purpose of this facility is to make hybrids. I'll talk more about all the problems caused by Narud leading the Tal'darim in the conclusion. Kerrigan then brings an Ultralisk back to life because they have its essence, even though Kerrigan has never used this ability before and doesn't use it again. She then transforms an Ultralisk into 2 Ultralusks. After taking out a Tal'darim base, Narud attacks Kerrigan with a green beam, which Kerrigan blocks with a purple beam because Starcraft is now Dragon Ball Z. Also, for unknown reasons, Kerrigan can't jump out of the way to avoid this attack, and none of the flying or ranged units can attack Narud. StuCo then points out that the 5 Xel'Naga temples are amplifying Narud's power, so Kerrigan demands that StuCo destroys them. Fortunately, all these temples are in easy to access locations with minimal defences, rather than in the middle of a large Tal'darim base or protected by cliffs. Upon getting to the temples, StuCo channels psionic energy into them, even though he isn't a psychic, which somehow shuts them down. Also, for unknown reasons, the Tal'darim can't use their psychic powers to stop this, or reactivate these temples. Then Narud's spare hybrids show up and for unknown reasons don't try to kill Kerrigan or StuCo with their psychic powers like they did in the previous mission. While travelling the map, Isha points out crystals that Narud is using to store raw psionic energy for no reason. Oddly, these crystals are also randomly located on the map, rather than in large Tal'darim bases. After destroying all the temples, Kerrigan hits Narud with her beam, and he disappears. Kerrigan then goes to kill Narud and we get a cutscene, rather than a boss battle. This is odd given that only 2 Zerg missions have had boss battles, and Narud would be the perfect character to battle against. After opening the door, Kerrigan goes to fight Narud without her army or StuCo for unknown reasons. There she encounters Reyna, who for unknown reasons has left the Hyperion and is in a room containing a shapeshifter. Narud then attacks Kerrigan, even though it would make more sense for him to retreat to one of his other labs that he hid on many worlds. Kerrigan then has the Leviathan attack from underneath Skygeirr, something she should have done earlier to gain access to this facility, or to stop Narud firing his green beam at her. Narud then turns into Kerrigan, which causes her to stop attacking him, even though Kerrigan was never shown to regret becoming a Zerg again. Narud then impales Kerrigan on his red sword, even though his colour earlier in this mission was green, and Kerrigan impales both of them. For unknown reasons, Narud didn't try to avoid this attack by using his shapeshifting abilities. Also, Amon is alive, but for unknown reasons isn't with his fanatical followers. On the Leviathan, Kerrigan is being healed in a magic pool, and Skygeirr decides not to overthrow Kerrigan, as she still has much to learn. Once healed, Kerrigan decides to attack Mengsk, even though Amon is a bigger threat. Finally, StuCo chooses to remain with the Swarm as he has nowhere else to go. Conclusion. The premise and the missions of Skygeirr were full of problems. The first problem with the premise is that this lab isn't on Korhal, even though this would make it much easier to defend. Given that Korhal is a planet, it could easily have been put in an isolated area or on an island. The second problem is, why was StuCo made into a Zerg? Narud's whole base was designed to make Protoss-Zerg hybrids, not Terran-Zerg hybrids. Oddly, if you click on StuCo enough times, he claims that he became a Zerg again because the cure that made him human failed.
Let's recap. I was betrayed and killed, shot into space, captured by the Zerg, resurrected and infested, cured, given to Mobius to research the Protoss cure, and was instead experimented on as the cure slowly failed. Everyone up to speed? Good.
Since this doesn't directly contradict what he said about Narud, as Narud could have caused the cure to fail in a way that makes it seem like StuCo was made using superior techniques, I think this is more of a case of StuCo being unclear because of bad writing, rather than a plot hole. Third problem is, how was StuCo able to escape and contact Kerrigan? Escaping such a heavily fortified base should have been impossible, leaving Skygeirr would require a spaceship, and Narud should have been able to detect whatever signals StuCo was sending out. The fourth problem is, why didn't Narud use his shapeshifting powers to replace Mengsk and build hybrids on every Dominion planet? This would have helped his plans far more than being the head of the Mobius Foundation. Regarding the mission-related problems, in Mission 1 the main problems were, why did the Dominion even have anti-infested Terran gas, and why couldn't they synthesize this gas while they were venting it? Preventing the garrisons becoming infested would have been a better strategy, and if for whatever reason they couldn't do this, then they should have created a system that could constantly produce and vent this gas. In many ways this mission is similar to Tal'darim's Harvest of Screams, where it was easiest to attack the enemy at certain times. However, Harvest of Screams used this concept better, as the flash freeze storms weren't being caused by either side, so them appearing and disappearing made more sense. In order to improve this mission, rather than giving the player periodic access to infested Terrans, it would have been better if the developers had completely removed them from this mission, and instead the player had to use infestors to turn the Terran defences against the Terrans. Regarding Mission 2, the main issue was the number of hybrids being produced. Since no partially made hybrids were mentioned, it has to be assumed that this facility can only make 8 hybrids at one time. However, as Narud knew how to make hybrids at the end of Brood Wars, which occurred 4 years ago, and this lab is the Heart of Mengsk hybrid breeding program, it should have been able to produce more than 8 at any one time, especially since 4 years ago Narud said he put such facilities on many worlds.
Your violence, young prodigal, is typical, as is your inability to comprehend the greater scheme of things. You can destroy all of the specimens here. It will do you no good. For I have seeded the hybrid on many worlds. You will never find them all before they awaken. And when they do, your universe will be changed. Forever.
I'd say this problem is mainly due to the developers not considering how large this facility would need to be. Regarding Mission 3, the main problem is that Narud is the head of the Mobius Foundation, allied with the Dominion, and the effective leader of the Tal'darim while Amon is dead. Yet these groups are constantly fighting each other in Wings of Liberty for no reason. In the mission The Outlaws, Narud has the Mobius agent Tychus convince Reyna to attack a Dominion dig site to get an artifact piece when he or Valerian could have asked the Dominion for it. In Smash and Grab, the Tal'darim have the artifact piece, yet don't give it to Narud, even though Narud will use it to resurrect the god they worship. The Tal'darim also seem willing to die trying to protect this artifact, rather than move it somewhere safer. As a result, the only reason the Zerg don't get this piece, which would prevent Amon being resurrected, is because Reyna steals it from the Tal'darim. In the dig, Narud's Mobius employees are killed by Narud's Tal'darim. Then Reyna comes in, kills Narud's Tal'darim, and then gives the artifact to Narud, who is the effective leader of Mobius and the Tal'darim, and is trying to resurrect the Tal'darim's god. In Supernova, the Tal'darim decide to defend the artifact from Reyna, while Firestorm burns their planet, because the sun is about to go supernova. So they'd rather die and have the artifact destroyed, which would prevent their god ever being resurrected, than move the artifact somewhere else. In More of the Void, the Tal'darim still refuse to hand over the last artifact piece, even though once their leader Narud has it, he can resurrect their god. So if Narud is the effective leader of the Tal'darim, and the Tal'darim want to resurrect Amon, it makes no sense for the Tal'darim to spend 4 missions doing everything they can to prevent Narud having all the pieces of this artifact, including things that may result in the artifact being permanently destroyed. Narud being the effective leader of the Tal'darim is clearly a retcon by Blizzard, as so much of Wings of Liberty contradicts this. There are also 2 lesser problems with Mission 3. The first is why the hybrids can drain Kerrigan in the previous mission, but not this one. This is what happens when your characters don't have clearly defined powers. The second is, why did Narud turn into Reyna? Kerrigan may not have known that Reyna was alive, may no longer have had feelings for Reyna after becoming a Zerg, or may have already saved him from Mengsk. So turning into Reyna had a high chance of not working. In conclusion, these missions not only made little sense, but they were so badly written that they made much of the plot of Wings of Liberty make no sense. Narud was also underused, as his shape-shifting powers could have been used for something other than making scenes for the trailer.